The richest nation on Earth went bankrupt overnight. No bombs, no invasion, just math that suddenly stopped working. It wasn't a glitch, it was the end of an era. What followed wasn't a correction, it was a global financial war, a ruthless battle over gold and debt that rewired the operating system of the modern world. Late 1929, Black Thursday hits. Within hours, chaos swallows Wall Street. Billions in wealth vaporized instantly. Men stood frozen outside the exchange, paralyzed. But make no mistake, the crash didn't cause the Great Depression. It was merely the spark that lit the fuse. The 1920s were loud, jazz, cars, endless optimism. The media dubbed it the Roaring Twenties, but underneath a bubble was expanding. Cheap credit and wild speculation were everywhere, fueled directly by the Federal Reserve. Banks pushed regular people to gamble on stocks with borrowed cash. You could borrow $9 for every one you owned. The market soared, but debt-fueled wealth isn't prosperity, it's leverage, and leverage always snaps. Post-crash, the Fed had a choice: print money or tighten the screws. They chose strict discipline. It was the wrong move. Tied to the gold standard, the Fed feared printing money would cause a run on gold reserves. So, disastrously, they raised interest rates instead. Illiquidity evaporated. Nearly 10,000 banks failed by 1933. It morphed from a market crash into a total monetary collapse. The gold standard became a trap. To maintain it, nations had to hike rates and cut wages, forcing economic suicide called deflation. Factories shut down while gold sat idle in vaults. Designed for order, the gold standard instead synchronized global chaos. Britain surrendered first, abandoning gold in 1931. The pound instantly lost 30% of its value. The U.S. clung to gold religiously. The result was catastrophic deflation. Farmers dumped milk while millions starved. In 1933, FDR took office and issued Order 6102, confiscating all private gold from U.S. citizens. Citizens were forced to sell gold at $20. Later, the government revalued it to $35, effectively stealing 40% of the nation's wealth overnight. The hidden inflation tax was back, a legalized heist. America's devaluation triggered a global race to the bottom. Nations fought to cheapen their currencies to survive. Economic ruin fueled radicalism. Desperate Germans turned to a man promising vengeance, Adolf Hitler. Japan, Italy, Russia, tyrants rose everywhere, seizing power amidst the financial wreckage. The Great Depression wasn't just an economic event, it was a global redistribution of power. Post-World War II, the dollar reigned supreme. The 1944 Bretton Woods Agreement cemented the U.S. as the world's banker. Other currencies pegged to the dollar. The Depression buried the British Empire and birthed the American century. Gold wasn't abandoned because it failed. It was abandoned because it stopped politicians from printing unlimited money. Abstaining meant austerity. Abandoning it meant inflation and control. Either way, the citizen lost. Every rescue, every bailout, every act of stability funnels upwards. The Great Depression wasn't an economic collapse, it was a coup. In 2008 and 2020, they printed trillions. The echoes of the past are loud and clear. Instead of deflation, they chose inflation. They bailed out the system. Both times, the outcome was the same. Power consolidated, trust eroded. The ordinary citizen always pays. The Great Depression wasn't an event, it was a playbook, still being followed today. Next time you hear of a market crash, don't think of numbers, think of the war waged in bank vaults, where money itself is remade. The real battles are no longer fought with bullets, but with interest rates, currencies, and printing presses. The Great Depression was the first global financial war. Every crisis since has been another campaign in that same conflict, a war over trust and control. Today, they use inflation instead of deflation. The victim is the same, the ordinary citizen. It was the shift from gold to paper promises. History may not repeat exactly, but it rhymes. When central banks play both arsonist and firefighter, the cycle of destruction returns. The Great Depression served as not a warning, but as an instruction manual that is still being followed today. If this revealed the truth, subscribe now.